Here is a list of the top 10 Premier League managers currently working in the Premier League 2024. My biggest judgment of how good a manager is results, style of play, and very importantly, their ability to improve individual players and get the best out of them, whether they're young academy players, old veterans, superstars, or even fringe players on the bench. So here goes my list. Starting off my list at number 10, it is Brentford's Thomas Frank. He joined Brentford as an assistant coach in 2016. 2 years later, he would become the first team coach, and after 3 years, he got them promoted to the Premier League. With one of the lowest budgets in the league, Thomas Frank has consistently outperformed his expectations and made Brentford a mainstay to the Premier League. Frank gets Brentford to play a counter-attacking football. He's a pragmatic manager that adjusts to his opponents. They're great at set pieces, and he always gets the best out of his players who we've never heard of because of great scouting and great managing. At number 9, it's Man United's Erik ten Hag. This might be too low for some people, or it might be too high for some people, but it's hard to say Ten Hag has done a good job at Man United considering the resources he's had. He should have done a better job. His two biggest criticisms from me are that Man United do not have a real identity in their footballing style, and also his signings have not been very good and he's wasted a lot of Man United's money. His debut season at United was actually good because they finished in the top 4 and they won the League Cup, but this season has been dreadful for Man United. They have grinded out results from close matches, they've lost so many silly matches, and it's just not been looking good, and there's rumours that he will get sacked at the end of the season. He's still a decent manager because the pressures of managing Man United is a crazy circus and it does require skill to manoeuvre, and Ten Hag does well to manage the pressure and manoeuvre around the media circus. Moving on to number 8, it is Chelsea's Mauricio Pochettino. Similar to Ten Hag in the previous entry, this ranking is mainly based on his historical achievements and the legacy of Pochettino from his time at Tottenham. So we know he's a great manager, but his debut season at Chelsea has not been good. The players are not responding to him, and this could be due to the circus around Chelsea, the fact that they sold all the experienced players and just brought in a bunch of young players that are having a hard time integrating within the team. So I still rate Pochettino, and I think he'll turn things around next season and climb up in the list. Pochettino was at number 8. Coming in at number 7, it is Brighton's manager Roberto De Zerbi. Pep Guardiola loves De Zerbi, and if Pep loves you, then you must be doing something good. De Zerbi came into Brighton with a lot of expectations, and he's exceeded that with a distinct style of football. De Zerbi plays attractive high possession football. They control the midfield, short passing, fast movement, and all the players appear to play with a high degree of intelligence. And it's why De Zerbi is so highly rated. He's expected to move to a bigger club in the future, possibly succeeding Klopp at Liverpool or even Guardiola at City, and that's how highly clubs around the league rate him. At number 6, it is Eddie Howe of Newcastle. Now Newcastle aren't doing too good this season, but we can't forget how much they exceeded the expectations last season because of Howe's management. He transformed Newcastle almost instantly. He's got them playing a very high intensity attacking football, and they also have a solid rock defense. I rate Howe highly because of how he's improved players like Dan Burn, Shaw, Longstaff, Wilson, who were all there before Newcastle had the money. And even with Newcastle's money, players like Bruno Guimaraes, Isak, and Votman, they've all done really well. And you can't forget Howe's incredible achievements with Bournemouth. So the man is clearly a great manager, and he comes 6th on my list. Coming in at number 5, it is Unai Emery, the current Aston Villa manager. Emery took Villa from bottom half to competing for the top 4 in one season. Yes, he had a great squad, but they were highly underachieving under Steven Gerrard. Emery has turned them around instantly. Emery is known for his extreme attention to detail. A typical Spanish manager that plays high defensive line, high possession style football. He's known as a perfectionist. He analyzes opponents extensively. Emery's achievements are unmatched. Before with Villa, he won countless European trophies with Sevilla and Villarreal. Aston Villa are almost the perfect club for Emery because they're a mid-table club, they've got lots of money, and they will back Emery, and Emery likes being an underdog when it comes to facing the big teams, and there's no doubt he's going to keep improving them and they'll be even better next season. Coming in at number 4, I have Tottenham's Ange Postecoglou. This man is a great manager. Tottenham were the most defensive team under Antonio Conte last season. Within 4 months, Postecoglou has turned Tottenham from the most defensive to the most attacking team in the league. The term Ange Ball was coined for his style of play because of how beautiful and attacking his teams play. They play ultra attacking. He gets his fullbacks to invert, they build up from defense, they press relentlessly, and he allows his most creative players to be at the center stage to create everything, and they just love scoring many goals. His debut season, he's done very well. But next season, I think they're going to be even scarier because he's going to get more resources, more players to suit his style, and Tottenham are going to be a really scary team because of how great of a manager Postecoglou is. Coming in at number 3, it is the most underrated manager in the Premier League, and that's Mikel Arteta of Arsenal. Now, people cannot underestimate what a job he has done to transform Arsenal into this great team they are now. If you compare to who Arsenal were 4 or 5 years ago, they were known as a banter club. And if you think about it, this is Mikel Arteta's first ever job as a manager in football. The man just retired playing. Guardiola hired him instantly as an assistant coach, and then Arsenal acted even more instantly in hiring him and giving him the main job. He's great at man management of his players. His great tactical intricacies, his beautiful Spanish philosophy all shines through his team. Arteta is a great tactician, but his ability to manage a big club like Arsenal as a rookie manager is an underrated attribute about him and needs to be talked about more. Arteta is a special manager, and Arsenal are lucky to have him. And they know that. That's why they have backed him financially, given him so much money to sign players like Declan Rice, whereas previous Arsenal managers would have not got this type of financial backing. And the backing from Arsenal board to Arteta is showing on the pitch because Arteta is getting the results. What's crazy is there are still fans out there, footballing fans and even Arsenal fans, that still call for Mikel Arteta's head whenever a result doesn't go Arsenal's way. They don't realise how great of a manager Arteta is, and Arsenal are lucky to have him. So Arteta comes in at number 3. Coming in at number 2, I have the legendary Liverpool manager, Jurgen Klopp. Now, what needs to be said about him that hasn't already been said? His achievements with Liverpool in the last 7 years are legendary. Premier League title, Champions League title, many second place finishes in the league, 2 more Champions League finals. Klopp is a revolutionary manager. He was a counter to the Spanish-Dutch possession style that dominated football for the last 10 years, which is what allowed him to take on Man City even though he had fewer resources. Klopp this season has almost rebuilt this Liverpool squad, and they're back to their best, competing for the title again. Even though last season they looked very bad and he was close to getting fired and people thought the Liverpool era was done. But no, Klopp has shown that he's a great manager, he's got new young players and he's getting the best out of them. And currently, as of today, they are top of the Premier League with this new squad. Klopp even won the League Cup with academy players, playing an attacking style of football. That's how much of a great manager he is. Even with the lack of resources, he gets the best out of them. So Klopp comes in at number 2. Finally, at number 1, it is Pep Guardiola, arguably the greatest football manager of all time. Yes, Pep has had the most money to spend on players, but it's the fact that they always perform well. They never flop. They hardly ever flop. Guardiola changed European football, and 15 years later, he continues to change European football. Everyone looks up to him. Everyone copies him. He introduced this high possession style football with his Barcelona, the short passes that everyone copied. He then adapted gegenpress into his style in his Bayern Munich days. And now at Man City, he combines his Spanish possession and German gegenpress, and he combines them to get this hybrid style of football with his Man City team that just destroy all their Premier League opponents. Whether it's getting his teams to play his typical tiki-taka football, or even now with Haaland, he can play the old school target man style of football. Pep can do it all. And he continues to innovate tactics. 2 years ago, he brought in his fullbacks to be in the central midfield, and then everyone started copying him. He then decided to play 4 centre-backs in his defence, and now everyone's doing the same. He's now bringing in his centre back in John Stones to come into the midfield, attacking midfield position, and no doubt from next season everyone will copy him again, because that's just what Guardiola does. He continues to innovate. He's a different breed. The way he thinks about football, we can only imagine, and he's still the best manager of the Premier League 2024. Thank you for listening to my video. That was my list of the top 10 Premier League managers in the Premier League. Please give a like to this video, please subscribe to my channel, or leave a comment on what you thought of my choices. Thank you.